When it comes to creating t-shirt designs for print on demand, there are a couple rules that you absolutely have to follow every time. So in today's video, we're going to go through with real examples, and I'm going to show you on screen recording what are the 5 rules that you have to follow for every print on demand t-shirt design. Now, if you guys know my style in these videos, there's going to be no fluff. We're going to move at a fast pace, and we're going to cover a ton of information. So sit back, relax. If you do enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, and let's get straight into it. So the first rule that you absolutely have to follow is making sure that you are not infringing on any trademarks or copyrights. Now, when you understand this one, it's actually very easy to follow along, but what most people don't realize is that trademarks and copyrights are 2 different things. When we're talking about trademarks for t-shirt designs, we're talking about the phrase or the actual text that is on your design. Individual people or sellers or full-fledged companies can file to formally own the rights to a phrase on apparel. So the first thing that you need to do when you're creating your t-shirt design is once you come up with the text or the phrase that's going to go on that shirt, you have to check it to make sure that nobody owns the rights to that trademark. So let me take you in on the computer real quick. I'll show you how to check this, and then we'll talk about copyright. So switching over to the computer, this is the tool that I use for checking my trademarks. It's called Merch Informer, and all you do is you come down to the left side. They have a tab called Trademarks. You click on Trademark Alerts, and in this box right here, you can type in as many different phrases as you're thinking and search them all for trademarks all at once. So let me type in a couple phrases, and I'll show you an example here. So when you're typing in your phrases, just press Enter to go to the next line. This is where you can type in your next one. This way, it's going to search all of them individually. And then once you've entered all the ones you're thinking, just click on Save. This is going to drop them down into this list right here, but as you can see, it says not checked yet. Just go ahead and click this big button right here that says check trademarks, and then click the refresh button on your browser. This is going to give you instant results on whether you can use that phrase on a t-shirt design or not. So as you can see, I'd rather be fishing. That is safe to use. It has a green check mark, but Fish Whisperer has a red X. That means that somebody owns the rights to that trademark. So you should not use that phrase when you are creating your t-shirt design. Okay, so now that we've covered trademarks, the other part of this is copyrights. So copyrights work the same way as trademarks, where someone can own the rights to something, but instead of talking about the phrase that's on the shirt, it's the actual art that's on the shirt. Now, when it comes to t-shirt design specifically, what a lot of people don't realize is that copyrights can come in many different forms. The most obvious one here is the graphic that's on your design. Someone else could have created that and they own the rights to it. But what a lot of people don't realize is that the fonts can actually be copyrighted, and even the layouts can be copyrighted. So let me switch you over to the computer again, and I'll show you how to avoid all of this. So what I'm showing you right now is the graphic design tool that I use to create my t-shirt designs. Now, this tool is called Place It, but the reason that I use it is because everything on their website is 100% copyright free and commercially usable. Now, to give you a real example of this, if you type in anything like fishing, let's just give that a search. And then you go over to the left side, hit show more filters, go down to t-shirt designs. They have 76 t-shirt design templates that you can use fully copyright free. Now, what's cool about this is if you click on any of these, the layout of this design, the fonts that are in this design, and the graphic are all copyright free. So what's pretty cool here is if you go to the graphic, which is right here, just hit on edit, you have several different options. You can just click on them. It'll sub that directly into your design. And you know that any one that you are selecting here is copyright free. Now, what's cool is you can also just go and search more broad. So let's say fish in general, and you have a full library of all copyright free graphics. Now, the reason that this is so important and unique to Place It is that there are several other graphic design tools out there, many that I've used over the years. Not all of their library is copyright free. So you may go through their library, you're selecting different graphics, and then once you upload that to a print-on-demand website, it may get taken down and you get a copyright strike, not realizing that somebody owned that graphic. So lastly, before we move on from this, let me just show you that also the text that is in your design has copyright-free font. So if you click on the font right here, all of these are going to be copyright-free. If you haven't found one that you like out of this list, you can go to more fonts, and then you have a massive list of all copyright-free fonts you can use. All right, just like that, that sums up the first one. Let's get into the second rule. The second rule is that when you're creating t-shirt designs for print-on-demand, make sure that you are creating that design for a specific customer. What I see a lot of new print-on-demand sellers mistakenly do is that they create very general designs. They create something generally about fishing, but who's really going to purchase that design? If, however, you create that design for a specific customer within fishing, you're going to see a lot more sales. So let me show you some examples of this. So coming over to Amazon, which is the largest print-on-demand platform out there, let's look at some examples within the fishing niche. This first listing here that just says fishing 4 times and kind of has a heart built into it, this is a great example of a very general design. It's not really made for anyone. The only reason it's showing up first is because they are paying to have it sponsored. Now, if you look at this design over here, let me open it up so you can see it a little bit bigger. This looks like a very basic design. However, this is a great print-on-demand design, and the reason is it says, I love my wife, but it really says, I love it when my wife lets me go fishing. This design is made specifically for a husband who likes to go fishing. As you can see, that is a more focused design that's going to get far more sales. Now, a small note on this one, when you are creating t-shirt designs for print-on-demand, keep in mind that most of those designs are going to be purchased as gifts. So something like this design could perfectly be purchased as a gift from a wife to a husband. This goes for the vast majority of the print-on-demand designs out there. So when you are creating your t-shirt designs, keep that in the back of your mind. Just like that, we're on to the third rule. The third rule that you have to follow when creating t-shirt designs is making sure that you're using your space correctly. When you are designing a t-shirt, you basically have two options you can go with here. The first option is what's called a full torso print. So this is going to be taking up pretty much the whole rectangle that you are designing in. I'll put up some examples of this so you can see what I'm talking about. Now with that in mind, the other option you can go with is what's called a chest-centric design. These are going to be the designs that are just in the upper part of the shirt. Now I'll put up some examples of these as well. Now if you are going to do a chest-centric print, make sure that you are putting that design in the chest area of the shirt. We don't want any belly prints. Now if you don't know what I mean by belly prints, I'll put up some examples here so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, just like that, we're on to the fourth rule to follow when you're creating t-shirt designs, and that would be to use proven phrases. Now let me back up a step here. When you are coming up with your t-shirt design, a lot of people come up with their own phrases, whether it's something that they thought of in their head, something they saw online and they're making a better version of it. Now, as long as you check the trademarks for that and it is okay to use, you can absolutely use that in your design. However, people who have been selling print on demand for a long time have likely seen that there are certain phrases, and it doesn't matter what niche they are in, that always sell the best. So as you start to get more sales, pay attention to what the phrases are on those shirts that are selling and try putting them into other niches. Now, let me just quickly show you an example of this so this makes more sense. One of these phrases is easily distracted by, and then you can swap out this line at the bottom. As you can see, this template is perfect for this. You can swap it to any niche possible. So let's just start with the obvious one here. This is a sport bike. So you would just type in sport bikes, easily distracted by sport bikes. There's one design right there. And then all you do is come over here, you select on the graphics, and you can switch this to anything else. So this is a dirt bike right here. We'll select that. And then all we have to do is go to sport bikes. We'll switch that to dirt bikes. And now just like that, you've made two designs out of a proven phrase, and you can start to put this into as many niches as you want. So we've stayed on motorcycles for these two examples, but you can come right down to the graphics. You can type in anything. So if you were to type in fishing, and you can start clicking around on these images and then customize the niche there. So we'll just change that to white, put that to the center. And now you can switch this to fly fishing because that is a fishing fly. Now that's just an example of one of these proven phrases. And as you can see, you can use a single phrase for as many niches as you want to go into. If you want more of these proven phrases, I'll put a link down in the description for them. So that brings us into the fifth and final rule for creating t-shirt designs. And that is to make sure that you are picking profitable niches. When you are a print-on-demand seller, especially if you are a newer print-on-demand seller, I do not recommend going into super competitive niches. You could follow all of these rules and you could create the absolute best design, but if you're uploading that into a niche that is wildly oversaturated, it's going to be incredibly hard for you to get on the first page and actually get seen by people. Now, researching the niches is actually a very easy process if you know what you're doing. For a full walkthrough on how to do that, I'm going to link to another YouTube video down in the description below. This is actually a full print-on-demand tutorial, so it'll take you through everything from researching the niches to actually creating the designs and uploading them to print-on-demand websites. So guys, I hope this video has been helpful. If you did enjoy it, please just give it a thumbs up. And as always, if you have any questions, just let me know down in the comments.